Hello and welcome to Label Sessions Presents, the podcast where we talk to the most interesting people about all the things you need to know in the world of innovation, business design, tech, and culture. I'm Fuzlin Esau, and today we're joined by two new expert leaders to join the Label Sessions roster, as well as Josh Nixon from the Label Sessions team. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello. Great. Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So hello and welcome to Bryon White. Bryon is best known for building a global supply chain for a native botanical that previously had zero commercial infrastructure. Beyond his own company, Bryon serves as a venture builder and advisor to dozens of early stage founders through builders and backers. So welcome, Bryon.
Thanks for having me.
Also a big welcome to Greg McCallum. Greg is best known as the No BS advisor. He brings brutal clarity to messy commercial questions, whether it's fixing revenue plateaus, resetting go-to-market strategy, or turning a founder-led sales hustle into a functioning organization.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So we will jump straight in. And the first thing we're talking about is a new app called T. And T is sort of this new, I wouldn't call it a dating app. It's an app to get some information on the individual that you may be seeing. So it's enabling women to secretly review men. And it's proving very popular. So popular that it had a data breach over the weekend. But the question is this a positive trend where we're able to do these sort of, I guess, a way to look out for other people through information. But also, what does this mean for concerns around data? We've just seen all of the data that got hacked over the weekend. And what does this mean about dating culture when we sort of are popping in sort of reviews as we're going along? Greg, I think, as the No BS advisor, I feel like you could have a great take on this.
I had a feeling you might come to me first on this one. Look, this company will be dead within the next year. It's just that simple. There's no longevity in organizations that capitalize on gossip behavior and toxicity. There are plenty of groups on Facebook and on forums online where people can go get together and bond over their toxic behavior and criticizing human beings. Twitter exists pretty much fundamentally for that entire purpose. It is not a robust business model. It's not one that's built on the best of what humanity has to offer. And for that exact reason, it's destined to fail. Like most other apps that have tried to capitalize on similar behavior in the past, it's not interested in any way in facilitating romance between people, in creating better connections. Its only interest is in fostering hatred between individuals. So it has no place in the future of the app infrastructure. And I think to go we're just slightly one step further. I mean, I think the leaks that have basically bared that out, because it's just proven the point of what everyone's concern was initially with this anyway, because everyone can see exactly black and white, exactly what everyone's been saying, and who's been saying it. So, to be honest, that's my only take on it. It might not be particularly innovative or mind blowing, but it is what it is, and people are always going to make crappy apps to try and make a few quid on the backs of putting other people down. That's just the industry we're in, unfortunately.
And like you said, Twitter does already exist and fills a lot of that role.
But at least it's public.
Yeah.
So at least I think morally it's on a higher standing,
That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that sentence.
No, it is. I mean, morally speaking, Twitter I think fits. I mean, not to get too diverted, but it absolutely fits on with the public square ethos, which is, say things publicly and risk offending people and also risk being offended. I mean, that is the point of public discourse, is you can say something and people absolutely have the right to disagree and then make their counterclaim back to you. And you have to accept that is the responsibility that you take when you say something publicly. And that's the point. If you hide people behind an app and give them this false sense of security, of which, by the way, doesn't exist in technology anyway, then you're just encouraging people to be the worst of themselves. And so that's not a great way to educate people on how to engage in public discourse, in my opinion.
Well, I like the name. I mean, it seems it
So
seems
one
apropos.
positive.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
If I can be forgiven the small pun, it's like apropos for. Yeah. I mean, I'm newly single and using dating apps for the first time, so I'm like, oh shit. I mean, it's just kind of scary, right? I mean, it's like vigilante justice with a user experience in some ways. So I think it does raise a lot of questions about privacy and consent and digital permanence. I mean, these things never go away, right? But I do think it offers some interesting cultural signals, like there's women have a desire for accountability in dating, and the traditional safety structures that are in place are not providing it. So I don't think that should be ignored, but I kind of agree that the negative is going to outweigh the positive here, and there's going to be a lot of unintended consequences. I hope I don't end up on it, or maybe I get 5 points. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Based on what I've just said today, I know for a fact I'm probably going to be end up on it, even though I'm not. Even though I'm married and I have kids, you know what I mean? But yeah, here's the thing: I don't care. I don't care.
It might be everyone's Coldplay moment, like
right.
What a cultural moment that was.
Yeah.
And the whole data protection aspect of it ties in really nicely to something that happened recently in the UK with the Online Safety Act coming into fruition, using like you can either upload a photo of your driver's license or use some weird AI thingamajiggy to prove that you're 18 to go on some nefarious sites, but also other sites are getting caught in that same blocker too that aren't even necessarily just porn. But the thing that I find fascinating about the T situation that ties into that is that they were using the exact same tech that the UK government is, in terms of like, you just turn your webcam on and then you hold your face up to it, turn left, turn right to technically prove that you're a human, and that's it. And then, the number one thing that people were saying is it's not a matter of if data is going to leak, but when. And for the fact that it happened with a company the exact same week it launched, is just hilarious to me. So it's just what's going to happen next,
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in on that, like, I think there's a couple of things there. I mean, first off, to kind of defend that company somewhat, even though I just absolutely blasted them a minute ago, like they didn't expect to go viral and get the attention that they did. They did, and then therefore they became the target of hackers to expose that data. But no one could have really prepared in that organization for the level of virality. And just knowing what we probably all know about startups is that you don't. You build things as you go. And so you wouldn't have built that level of infrastructure to, for cybersecurity purposes that early on. The budget would have been allocated for that later and so on. So, to give some credit where it's kind of due or maybe not due, it's not entirely their fault that they didn't really see that coming. Maybe they should have done. You could maybe put some accountability there. But then in terms of like the new act coming into force in the UK, I mean, I personally think it's actually a pretty good move to be moving in that direction somewhat. I mean, yeah, again, you can make that sort of somewhat moot point of, but it's easy to get around. I mean, you can say that about literally anything. I mean, needing an ID to go and buy alcohol, the minimum age to have sexual intercourse or buy cigarettes. Like, people are always going to find ways to get around things. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try and do something in order to protect people. And the reality is that the internet has an enormous amount of content on it that absolutely isn't appropriate for a lot of people at certain ages. And up till literally this point, at least in the UK, there's been very little, if any, attempts to ensure that we're doing something to prevent people from accessing that. So something is better than nothing, and it is headed in the right direction. Is it being mishandled in some ways? Yes. Is it being maybe applied to certain websites or content that it shouldn't do? Yes. That is just the nature of implementing a new process. It's messy and it takes time to even out over time. But it will. I'm sure it will get more robust over time.